What's up, everyone? This is Minnesota Mike back with you for another video. This is another one in my vlog series that I do through the Memphis Songwriters Association in conjunction with the blog that I write for them, talking all about songwriting and what has worked for various artists over the course of a handful of years, whether those songs have been hits or not. So, this latest kick that I'm on is talking about what I call productive co-writing. And this is when a co-writer is also the producer of the song. So they produce it and they also had enough of a hand in it so that they get listed as a co-writer. In modern day pop music, this has become somewhat of a trend. Sometimes it's because the producer comes up with a line, other times, like in the case of Max Martin and Benny Blanco, it's because the sound is so unique to that producer. Seriously, Max Martin wrote Baby One More Time and used the same chords for that intro to the Backstreet Boys' Larger Than Life. While Baby One More Time was solely written by Martin, and Larger Than Life lists Martin, Christian Luden, and the Backstreet Boys member Brian Littrell as co-writers, it's not uncommon for pop songs to have 7 or more co-writers listed on the track, including the producer. And while this practice certainly has its place, this blog is going to focus on producers who helped artists write deeply personal tracks, and therefore are listed as the only other co-writer on the song. Before we dive in, I want to acknowledge that when I initially conceived the idea for this blog, and vlog obviously, I wanted to feature songs whose parent album had only one producer. And that producer is the only co-writer on the song besides the singer I discuss in this blog. And while the second part remains true throughout, it was very hard to find albums within the moody pop genre that achieved this, and moody pop is kind of what triggered this whole thing. Of the 4 artists that I talk about here, only Alanis Morissette and Olivia Rodrigo, the first and the last song that I talk about, had one producer and co-writer throughout the album in question, minus, of course, the interpolations that Rodrigo used on her 4 songs. Now, of course, it was still the same, just one producer, but obviously with those, there are only 2 co-writers, her and the producer. But speaking of people named Olivia that I admire, I want to shout out my best friend Olivia, not Rodrigo, although Olivia Rodrigo, if you're watching this, let's work something out. For helping me come up with the idea for this blog while we were talking about pop music from 2007. So we'll begin with You Oughta Know by Alanis Morissette. Like many of the other songs on Jagged Little Pill, You Oughta Know focuses on the angst that comes with the end of a relationship, and more specifically, knowing the person who cheated on you is having the time of his life with his affair. If you take out every line of the song except for the first, saying, I want you to know that I'm happy for you, I wish nothing but the best for you both, this is really a beautiful love song. But later in the song, she sings some of my favorite lines ever. Did you forget about me, Mr. Duplicity? I hate to bug you in the middle of dinner. Do you think of me when you fuck her? And it's not fair to deny me of the cross I bear that you gave to me. Now to the aforementioned producer's role in this song. After her second album flopped, Alanis was paired with veteran producer Glen Ballard, and to say they hit it off is a huge understatement. Not only did he help her find the right sounds for what would become Jagged Little Pill, but he also helped her center her emotions around exactly what she wanted to say. It's for this reason that he's listed as a co-writer in addition to a producer of the album. In the sessions, he would have her write songs in the moment, and they would go and record them each day after they were written. Writing in the studio, of course, is not an uncommon practice. Lennon and McCartney did it all the time, but one of the results of those co-writes in the Beatles sessions in the studio was the song Birthday, and I don't think a whole lot of people would argue that the song Birthday has the same emotional weight as You Oughta Know. Melodically, the song is written in the key of E. The verses use F sharp minor and B. The pre-chorus uses those chords plus an A, and the chorus uses F sharp, E, A, and B. That interlude uses F sharp and B. The song features an all-star cast of musicians with Red Hot Chili Peppers members Flea and Dave Navarro on bass and guitar respectively, along with Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers member Ben Montench on organ and veteran drummer Matt Luov. Structurally, the song follows a verse pre-chorus chorus verse pre-chorus chorus solo pre-chorus chorus format. In closing, I do want to talk about how rare the chemistry between Morissette and Ballard truly was. 6 years after Jagged Little Pill was released, the Dave Matthews Band released an album called Every Day, produced by Glen Ballard. The band had an album produced by Steve Lillywhite all ready to go, and those sessions from the Lillywhite sessions contained a much darker tone than the songs on Every Day. Lillywhite's recordings were rejected by the label, and the band and fans alike have dismissed the Glen Ballard sessions because it broke up the normal recording process of the band jamming in the studio and working out the songs themselves. They also work them out live quite a bit, but it still really messed with their process. Even Alanis admitted that her ballad-produced follow-up, supposed former infatuation junkie, didn't really carry the same emotional weight as its predecessor. Sometimes lightning only strikes once, but getting the right producer and potentially co-writer at the right moment can make all the difference. So I'm here to remind you that You Oughta Know is linked below. You can take a listen, and I hope you get something out of it. Hope it affects your writing in a positive way. Next time we are going to talk about the song Never Again by Kelly Clarkson from her 2007 album My December. Thank you so much for watching. I am Minnesota Mike, and be sure to tune in next time. Thank you so much.